Debt is how our monetary system works. It's the method by which the bankers use to control us. Over time, debt always increases, and this is not by accident. A system built upon debt must in fact continue to increase in order to exist. If all debt was paid off, the financial elite would be bankrupt. Watch as the debt escalates and causes massive destruction. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I got a jam-packed episode today. I want to move through it as quick as I can. Let's get to the business here. China's economic data for September will not be collated until early next month. But the ruling Chinese Communist Party has already decided they will bring the cheering news. This is out of the Financial Times. So whenever you have a big problem, you always cover it up. Now, a lot of the companies do this. They're actually able to, by fudging the numbers, they can actually postpone certain parts of their data. So if they want to show good earnings this quarter, they have ways to do so. The governments have the exact same ability because nobody except you and I needs to use generally accepted accounting principles. They always have a way around. The focus for the month of September will be strengthening economic propaganda and promoting the discourse on China's bright economic future and the superiority of China's system. And this is a quote from the party's propaganda department. So imagine that. This is the propaganda department. We call it marketing. They call it propaganda still, but it's the exact same thing. And they're giving the information to the mainstream media in China. And they're saying, this is what you're going to project to the people. This is the exact same thing that happens in the West, except we do it a little more secretly. Remember this. This is actual documented proof that the propaganda and how it works. You don't need to know all the little ins and outs. All you need to see is the evidence, the facts. That bright future is a picture that has been clouded by bleak economic data points and plunging shares in recent months. There's more in the article here, of course, but I want to move on. This here is two charts out of the Wall Street Journal. Print money to buy stocks. We're looking at Japan. The Bank of Japan's accelerating purchases of equity funds are seen as driving force of Tokyo's share market. Obviously, when you look at the balance sheet of the Bank of Japan, it is in direct correlation with the shares of the stock market. But sometimes it actually doesn't really work very well because they can print, let's say, 1 trillion yen, and it's not enough. Why? Because real investment isn't there, so they have to pick up the pace. The volumes have been showing us this in the West, but also if you look at Japan, you will see what's happening as QE is the only thing that supports the stock market. But guess what? Does that ring a bell to you at all? That's exactly what's going on in China and, of course, in the EU areas, as we also see this particularly with the US. Here's another chart. Oh, Canada, the land where everything is great. Nothing bad ever happens in Canada. And if you say so, you are a conspiracy theorist. Well, here we have what I would like to call a recession, quarter-over-quarter GDP growth. Now, it's called a non-recession. That's the new words that they're trying to play with us. It's a non-recession. It's not a recession, it's a non-recession, just like they use all other sorts of propaganda on us, and it fools most people. But here we have it. You can't deny it. In my book, I wrote about debt. Obviously being a huge issue, it's the way the monetary system works. And right here, I'm talking about Greece. In 2011, repackaging the debt of Greece and others with a date further into the future is their solution. You don't need to be an economist to understand that pushing debt further into the future isn't going to solve a problem. It only delays the inevitable. Think about that for a second. They develop all these new funds, the EFSF, the ESM, and other things that they've done over these years, particularly since the financial crisis. And you actually look into it. If you actually spent the time, not just glaze over the articles, but read a few books on it, you'll find out what they do. They take debt, for example, let's say Greece. Okay, they have a whole bunch of debt that they can't get rid of. The country's going to go and become insolvent. And what do? Well, you have the EU, for example, and the ECB and everyone else around decides to take the debt off their hands. So they take this debt, let's just say it's $1 trillion, for example, and they take that $1 trillion and they actually put a pretty little bow on top, and they package it up into a nice present. And they begin to sell off that debt at a future date to other institutions, other banking institutions, and people to try to make profit off of it. They sell it like you would sell a bond, for example. But it's garbage. Even the investment companies who are buying it up, which, oftentimes it actually doesn't sell very well. But they do this and they know it's garbage, but they know that, look, everything is garbage out there and the whole system could probably collapse tomorrow, but I can make profit on it today. So imagine, this is the financial system. This is what you don't hear in the mainstream media, and you will never hear in the financial media. Of course, they make it seem like these debt packages are amazing, that people are doing so well by purchasing them. And here it is, I'm really a conspiracy theorist, and there is nothing wrong with the economy, and we know that everything is awesome. If you remember my video about how everything is awesome. Childhood poverty is far more prevalent than the annual figures suggest. A new paper says, with nearly 2 in every 5 U.S. children spending at least 1 year in poverty before they turn 18 years old. We have the data here, we have the charts below, but think about that for a second. 2 out of every 5 experience poverty. That is harsh. That is real data. When you say that everything is fine because the stock market is doing fine and perhaps you have your 9-to-5 job, 2 out of every 5 U.S. children are disagreeing with you. Well, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. Look at the student and auto loan debt. As we see the student debt going up in a straight line, as well as the auto loan debt also a contributing factor to this. Every single portion of the debt has been increasing. There isn't a way for it to get out of this. It always adds up, but you don't have to worry about that because at the government, they are able to just freeze the debt. 175 days. Treasury says debt has been frozen at 18 trillion and change. Imagine that for a second, where debt can be frozen. Now, where does it go? If they're spending money every single day, where does it all go? Well, it doesn't matter, really, because all that's happening is a fictional game. When we see the debt numbers going up, it's all printed money anyway. It's all numbers in a computer. Why even bother calculating it anymore? Why even bother having a debt ceiling anyway? They just continue to increase it. As Obama says, raising the debt ceiling doesn't increase the debt. Why have a debt ceiling anyway? Just spend trillions and trillions of dollars every single year. And the consumer sentiment down to levels we haven't seen for a year. And this goes to show you how bad things are right now because people don't want to buy. Number one, they're in too much debt. And number two, they simply don't have the desire to spend. They're not buying those big ticket items. They're a little concerned right now. So These are things that are very important, not being discussed, and that's what I focus my channel on. Wherever the holes are in the mainstream media and the alternative media, that's what I fill in. I try not to give my opinion on anything. I'm simply trying to give you the factual information. I give you the data. You do what you want with it. You form your own opinion. That's not my job. Your job here is to take the information and do what you want with it. I always give my sources at the bottom of the videos, and I basically send you off to do your own research. I recommend books to read and other individuals who are intelligent out there who can share their information as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video and many others. I'd like to do a video every single day if I possibly can. And if not, it's probably because I'm collecting data to put into another video. Usually my data's videos run way too long anyway, but I'd like to have those jam-packed videos regardless. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. You can actually look through the book. If you go over to Amazon, they have this look inside feature, which allows you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.